Welcome to Adventure Freaks, a podcast on living abroad on a budget. Hi, I'm Remy Assorti with Adventure Freaks, and I just wanted to thank you for tuning in and supporting our channel. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button, that red button below. It's the best way to support our channel. And thanks again for tuning in. Today, we're heading over to Thailand, and we're going to head over to this area called Chiang Mai with my buddy that I've known for about 6 months now. Loganathan is a really cool dude, and he's been traveling a lot through this area of the world. He lives in Chiang Mai, which is the northern part of Thailand. He's originally from Chennai, India, and his name is Loganathan. He goes by, you could call him Logan. It's a little bit easier. He doesn't have a last name because in Chennai, India, they don't have last names. Is that correct, Logan?
Yeah, that is correct. We don't go by last names, just the name that we have.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. I like that. Logan he's a social worker, and he works with youth. He's got his master's in social work, and he's a person who likes to do some internal exploration. He's lived in temples. He lives in a flat right now in Thailand, but he's going to give us the ins and outs about what it's like to live over there, cost of living, and his journey about getting there. But first, Logan, let's pull up a map to show everybody where you're at. Let me see if I got a map open here. I do. There it is. So I just have to share it.
And thank you so much for having me in your podcast.
Oh, thanks for doing it, buddy. I appreciate it, man. We've been talking back and forth for about 6 months, and I know you've been on a journey, and I've loved what you've been doing. I've been following you on Facebook. And it's
thank you.
Fantastic stuff. So look forward to hearing about that. But here, Logan is from Chennai.
Yep, that's correct.
Over here, and then you trekked to. So have you ever trekked from like taken like a train or a bus all the way to Thailand, or have you always flown?
So I traveled after COVID and during the pandemic. So I was originally planning to take to travel by land and visit Bangladesh, Nepal, Myanmar, and then go to Thailand. And since the pandemic hit, I could not even travel by air to Chiang Mai. So it took some time for me to get visa and have flights going on back. So I have only flew from Chennai, India to Thailand.
Yeah. Okay. And I see that you're up here in the north of Thailand. Yeah. So you're about how far from Bangkok?
So about 10 hours.
About 10 hours.
Yeah. And if you fly from Chiang Mai to Bangkok, it nearly takes 1.5 hours. Like even sometimes just take 1 hour to reach Bangkok.
Okay, and a flight. What's a flight cost to get there?
So it varies. Right now, it's cheaper. It costs around. So I'm going to share the rates in Thai baht. So it's around 800 to 1,200 baht from Chiang Mai to Bangkok.
Okay, to 1,000 baht. So we got to figure out what that is in USD.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And you're okay. So if we scroll out just to give some people a perspective of where this is, it's on the other side of the world. So right now, what time is it over there?
So right now here in Chiang Mai, it's 9:15 at night, 9:15.
At night, seeing it's 12 here in the morning. So that's
I'm sitting in your future.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So tell us a little bit about your journey and how you landed, and how did you find Thailand? What did you find interesting about it? Why Thailand?
It's a little interesting, actually. Makes me remember so many of my journey to Chiang Mai. So originally I visited Chiang Mai to see my partner back in 2018. At that time we were
to see your who?
My girlfriend back then, that time.
Okay.
So she was living in Chiang Mai. So I visited her a few times. And that was my first time I traveled outside India. And that was in 2018, pre-COVID. And Chiang Mai was so beautiful. It's multicultural, multinational. They welcome foreigners. And there's lots of beautiful places, and it's really enriching with nature, and the soil is really great. So I have fallen in love with the nature aspect of Thailand, and ever since that I visited, and this was my first international travel. So I always wondered, like, is it possible for a little boy from Chennai to find a job and land in Chiang Mai? So that's how my journey started to Thailand, and
Wow.
this was back in 2018.
Yeah, that's terrific. Now, um, so what's the population of Chiang Mai?
Chiang Mai is relatively, I wouldn't say it is much populated as Bangkok. I don't know the numbers,
Gotcha.
but it's relatively, so you have mixed race of people here. So you have so if you have 60% of Thai people living, the other 40% would be Farangs. So here in Thailand, Western people, in Thai, Western is literally transferred to Farangs. So you can see a lot of British people, Europeans, Americans, Indians, Chinese, Japanese people live
Wow.
here. So it's like if it is 60% of Thai, the other major population would be foreigners.
Yeah, I just Googled it. It said there's a little over 1 million people in the metro
Yeah,
area. So it's pretty big, man. There's a lot of people
it's
there.
yeah, Chiang Mai is a really big province. It's surrounded by mountains, so you can see, there's like, if you just take 20 minutes bike ride, you can go to a mountain.
Yeah.
And it's like a dreamland, so that's why it covers attracts a lot of people, and people come and live here in Chiang Mai.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I was going to ask you, like there's people all the time that you hear traveling to Thailand,
Yeah.
even from the States, but all over the
Yeah.
world, people seek out Thailand.
Hmm.
And so what is it about? I know that they have some sensational beaches, they have some islands. I want to ask you if you visited any of the islands. And the temples are incredible, the Buddhist temples. So, but in your opinion, I mean, what is the attraction? Why are people in droves traveling to and living in Thailand?
I would start with the friendliness, the hospitality Thailand has for foreigners, because tourism is one of the major income Thailand has. And so let's say that it also comes from Buddhism. In Buddhism, people like to share what they have. So here in Thailand, the rich and the poor, they always share what they have. So if deriving from that, they also have so much rich land. And so whoever comes to Thailand, they just fall in love with how kind people are. And one of the major reason is also the livelihood. The cost of living is also relatively cheap. And since Thailand is also a developing nation, they also have a lot of scope for young people.
Yeah.
So you can see Westerners, different foreign people, they also start their own businesses.
Yeah.
Most of the young people are nomads. Since
Okay.
now there's a lot of online jobs happening.
Yeah.
People do online work and they just live here because the cost of living is very less.
Sure.
And the land is so rich with nature, with mountains and the ocean. The sea is just crystal clear here. So things like that which attracts people. So when someone is traveling to Thailand and they're able to find out, they could just live here, like quarter of the money that they would spend in their own country.
Yeah.
And they also want to cultivate and save more money. So that's how people end up here.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Well, do you have any room in your apartment that I'm looking at right now? Because I want to come now. You already sold me. Like crystal clear beaches. I love to hike. I love mountains. I love nature. Everything that you mentioned, man. I just love it. That's my world.
I mean, you can travel to Chiang Mai and see how beautiful Chiang Mai is and how beautiful the people are, and the food is just amazing. And you can find really good flats. So it's also like when a Westerner comes, people also want to sell the flat that they have. So there is more of market happening for people to get flats. They can rent houses, villas. So you can see young people, they have flats, and like married couples and elderly people, they have their own villas, the big houses. And it's like something out of an animation. Like you can just see an house which has loads and loads of plants and gardens, beautiful flowers. So everything visually stunning when it comes to having a land when it comes to having a flat. So it's like living in a dream. That's what it is.
Wow. Yeah, you come from a beautiful country with
Hmm.
incredible food.
Hmm.
So, I mean, how does the food compare? Because I love Indian food. I
Oh,
could
tell
eat
me
that
about it.
every day, but Thai food is great too. It's
Yeah.
how, so I mean, how, do you how do you compare the two, and what's your take on that?
So I've been living here more than a year now. I majorly love northern Thai food, and so it's more spicy. They add a lot of chili, so they have no concept of no spice. When you
Yeah,
say
yeah.
no spice, they will have like 50% of chili that they would add.
Sure.
So I'm also experimenting Thai food, but I'm made of India. So for me, if I have to, if I stuck in an island, I would say I would want to have Indian food.
Yeah.
And by saying that, I'm also exploring northern Thai food.
Hmm.
It's relatively cheap to live in Thai food, and you can like, let's say like you can have like 20 and 30 baht. You can have like one good meal of Thai food.
Oh, wow. Let me check. Let me see what the bot, like 100 baht to USD. What is
So it
this?
would be $1
Okay.
would be like 30-35 baht.
So 100 baht is like $2.89.
So you can have like a really good meal for that.
So, and you're saying that most of the meals are like 30 baht?
So when it comes to food, they have divided for Western food and Thai food.
Yeah.
So if you want to have a really good Thai food, like a local, you can
Yes.
have like 30 to 40 baht. Really
Wow.
good meal. Yeah, that's how cheap it is. It's surprising sometimes for me.
So a good Thai um, meal over there is less than $1 at some of
So
the
I would
local.
I would say like 50 baht. That would be $1.50.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, no wonder people stay here, huh?
Oh my, yeah. Oh man. I gotta
And the
come.
food is delicious.
Yeah, it
Uh,
is, man.
they also celebrate like meat. You can get really cheap meat food for like 50 baht, like
Hmm.
chicken, beef, pork, fish, seafood.
Yeah.
They also have excellent variety of meat. I don't eat meat, I'm a vegetarian,
Yeah.
but just saying that it's really cheap compared to India when it comes to meat here, and that was surprising for me when I came.
Yeah. 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 I don't eat meat either. I haven't eaten meat in almost 20 years now.
Wow.
And it's for me, it's the way to go. For
Yeah,
me, it
definitely.
works for me. I mean, it
It,
keeps,
it also worked for me. I haven't had meat in long time, and
yeah.
for me, I have not gone sick other than getting COVID.
Yeah, yeah. It's just it keeps I feel like, my body as I age, my body still feels very healthy and very young, and I can still
Hmm.
do a lot of the things that I could do when I was 20.
Hmm.
20, the same thing, so it's
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
it's been very beneficial for me. I know
Hmm.
some people just can't do it. They really need the meat protein, but
Yeah.
and I understand that. So
Hmm.
any experience on the islands? So I mean, like the islands and in the diving and the snorkeling really attract a lot of people. Like you said, it's crystal clear water. The big
Hmm.
island that many people hear of is called Phuket, I believe.
Phuket.
Uh,
Yeah. I lived in Phuket for 2 months. Thing about island is like the beaches are so beautiful, and the sunrises and sunset that you get is like out of my like fantasy movie. The entire it's like a show starts when towards the sunset. The entire sky changes into red, yellow, and like flame, and you can see the glitters in the ocean. And there's so much of ocean games like activities that you can do. And again, the seafood is really cheap, and it's like the snorkeling, diving, surfing. It becomes everyday thing.
wow,
Uh,
how much is like a meal in Phuket?
Phuket is a little expensive. I would say a decent meal for me around 200 to 250 baht.
Okay,
Hmm.
okay, so
It
about
also
2.
depends because Phuket is, like you were saying, the biggest island. It also attracts a lot of travelers, and it's
Right.
also one of the highly income places here in Thailand.
Hmm.
So everything would be really price will be a little higher.
Gotcha. Logan, Do you know what the cost is to, like, if somebody were to move to Thailand and say, yeah, Phuket or one of these islands is the place that I want to live? What can you get a flat for on those islands?
So when I was living in Phuket, for a single person, the lowest I was able to get like 4,000 baht.
Okay.
And if you really want a house, you can get one around 10 to 15,000 baht, like 3-bedroom apartments, which is, it also depends. If you go near the ocean, the price will be really higher. So I would say, if you want a sea view, like a mountain view,
Yeah.
it will be quality 40,000 baht, like a
About
huge,
40,000.
yeah, like a family.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. So that can get quite expensive. That would be about
Yeah.
1,000, little about $1,100.
Yeah, Phuket is really expensive relatively.
Now,
And if you
when,
want to live near the ocean, it would cost something like that.
okay, so when you paid what a 4,000 baht
Mm,
in
mm.
Phuket, how far were you from the ocean?
So Phuket is a big island. Yeah, it doesn't even feel like when you're staying there, it's like an island. So for me, the nearest beach would be 10 minutes.
Okay.
And that wasn't very far. If you have a motorbike, Phuket has a really high culture of motorbike. It takes 10 minutes to reach the nearest beach.
Okay. Is there any possibility of finding something affordable where you could walk to the beach?
Chai, you can find condos. I like to live in houses and I like to have land outside, like trees. So that's why I never choose a condo, like an
Okay.
apartment. So you can get an apartment around 4,000 to 5,000 baht. It would be 5 minutes from the beach.
Okay. So 4,000 to 5,000 baht
Yeah.
walking distance. So you're looking at, wow, that's really cheap, man.
Yeah. And it also depends on what kind of flat that you're getting.
Yeah.
So they have like, so they call it townhouses.
Yeah.
It's like all the flats are like the same. You can get like you have to find the dealers to get a house, like condos like that. And if you directly contact the builders, the price would be really high.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Hmm.
Wow. Okay. And all right. Well, let's talk about, everybody wants to know always about the visa, getting the visa. So is it easy in Thailand to obtain a visa, and what's the cost, if you know?
So we have different categories of visa. So normally people come here with a tourist visa, and it relatively easy to get a tourist visa. Right now, Thailand is also open. They don't have quarantine. You don't have to get health insurances. If you are vaccinated and if you are coming from safe countries, it's very easy to come inside. And I stay in a voluntary visa because I work for an NGO. And if you get a job, your employer will take care of everything, and then you will get a non-immigrant B working visa, which will come along with work permit. And people who retire here, they stay in retirement visa, and for that you need to, from my knowledge, you need to have like 500,000 baht just in your bank to obtain that. And you can also get 10 years retirement visa, 10-year long visas. And right now, sorry, that's my cat. Right now, Thailand, they also given extension visas. So for example, if you come in tourist visa and there's very less flights for you to go back to your country, you can pay 2,000 baht and you can get 2 months extension. And you can stay inside the country for 2 more months. It's called COVID extension visa. So most of the travelers, some of them who can't able to go back to the country, they also have COVID extension. They stay here for 2,000 baht. Normally, when you extend a visa, it costs around 2,000 baht. It also depends on what category that you are applying for. So you have tourist visa, you have voluntary visa, you also have educational visa, which comes around 40,000 baht, where you can learn Thai, or you can learn martial arts, Muay Thai, and they give you educational visa for a year. With that visa, you can't work, but you can stay in Thailand.
Okay.
And then you have classic work visa.
What is the visa that you have again?
Since I'm working in an NGO, I come under non-immigrant O volunteer visa.
Okay. So it's like a volunteer visa. Is there a cost to that?
So entire cost is taken care of my employer.
Okay, so they cover the cost.
Chai. So for me, that visa costed. So I had to go. I had to go back to my country to get that visa. So in my country, it costed around 6,000 rupees, which is like 3,000 baht, for my visa for 3 months. And then
Gotcha.
every 3 months, I have to extend for more 2,000 baht.
Okay. So, all right, that's interesting. Okay. All right,
Mm.
so let's get back. So we covered visa costs and tourist costs. Oh, I wanted to ask you. So you're working for an NGO. What type of work are you doing?
So we as an organization, we work for education, higher education and health. We also build schools. We give vocational training. We give scholarships for underprivileged kids who living in Myanmar, Cambodia, and Laos, and rural parts of Thailand, so they can get quality education. This is what we do as an organization. We work in 3 different countries and then Thailand. So I work with the human resource team. I work with the people who are doing projects, and I also look after the emotional well-being, and I also look after the culture of the organization.
Nice. What's the name of that NGO? I love what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I love the places that I work. It's called Child's Dream Foundation.
Child's Dream Foundation.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a way to find them if anybody wants information about them?
Chai. We have a website. I can share you the link of our website.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll add it into this podcast so people can see
Yeah.
it. And if
Ah.
they want to figure out a way to support you guys, that would be great.
Oh, that will be brilliant. We also have newsletters. They can see the amazing work that we've been doing in the field, and the schools that we have built, and the education that we are able to deliver to kids. We also have really good change stories
Yeah.
that people can visit and see and read. And it would be lovely if people can able to support.
Oh yeah. What are you specifically doing for them? Are you teaching? Are you working with some of the youth?
Since I have a lot of experience working with multicultural diverse places, I work with the human resource team. I look after the recruitment, bringing in new people, and able to keep the people who are already working, creating good vibes within the organization, looking after the payroll, looking after the training of the organization, looking after the life cycle of an employee within an organization.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds terrific, man.
Thank you.
What a nice job that you have there.
Yeah, it's very rewarding.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk. What do you do if so somebody moves over there and they get hurt or they have a health issue? What's the healthcare like over there? Is there a national healthcare?
So Thailand, what they suggest for tourists to come with insurance. Right now, ever since the pandemic started, one of the rules that they have, like if you have to enter the country, the first like 2 years back, they had a limit of $100,000 that you need to be insured. So they have lots of insurance agencies here. So they also really have really good hospitals that you can claim your insurance through. So that's one aspect. And they also have social security here, where the Thailand government has social security for everyone, Thai people who live here. So they also covered under government hospitals.
Okay. Does the NGO cover your healthcare?
Yeah. So I have two health cares. As an employee, I have private insurance, and also being working in an organization which is registered by the government, I also have social security. So I can get government benefits to government hospitals. If I want to have to go and get private treatment, I can also get a private hospital treatment. So I have two insurance, which is
Okay.
covered.
So for people that want to maybe retire over there, they would have to they'd have to go through one of those insurance companies to pick up a plan.
Yeah, definitely. And they have really good different plans for travelers, for workers, for retirees. They have different categories for people according to what the needs are.
Yeah.
And I would always suggest when you're coming to Thailand or when you're coming to Asia to have an insurance or an international insurance. And
Yeah.
because most of the hospital, they also have tie-ups with international insurances. It's really easy to climb. It takes time, just like any other insurances, but the health benefits here are they have really good quality here.
Mm-hmm. And do you have any idea what one of those health plans costs, or what the breakdown is in cost at all? Or
So yeah, when I came back in 2021, I had an insurance which is for a year plan, which came around 8,000 baht,
okay,
and it had a limit of 100,000 US dollars, which was the highest amount of limitation that I had. And it also had different like one-day cost, outpatient cost, uh, accidental cost, COVID cost. So this is one of the insurance that I was able to get, and it was one of the cheapest one also.
so it was 8,000 baht
Yeah, the one that I had was
for
8,000.
the entire year.
It was for a year, yes.
For a year, so that's about $230 USD.
Yeah,
So then
yeah,
if
yeah.
you had to go in and see a physician, do you still have to pay any money after that?
So it depends, because I did not get outpatient. So if I have to go and see a physician in a government hospital, then I have to pay. And if it is covered under my insurance, I have to reimburse that. Thank God I have not been to an hospital as of now.
Mm-hmm. So if you pay a doctor, how much would they charge you for just a checkup typically?
So if you go to a really registered multi-level hospital, that would come around 500 to 1,000 baht.
Okay.
And if I think if you pay around, so I have went to Bangkok Hospital, is one of the top tier hospitals, and I paid when I went to do a medical checkup for one of my visa, I paid around 2,000 baht.
Okay.
And so it would be similar to if someone is sick, if someone has a dodgy stomach, if it is a government hospital, I would say 500 baht, or if it is a private higher tier like hospitals, it would be like 1,000 to 2,000 baht.
So you basically went to get a physical for your job. So
Yeah,
if they call them physicals here, the big checkup, they do everything to check, make sure that everything
yeah,
is
yeah,
fine. And you paid 2,000 baht,
yes,
and that is $57 in
yeah, like
US.
series of blood tests, everything, and they have packages. So I went and asked for a work permit checkup. So they had packages, and this one was the cheapest one for me to get. And there's another hospital which had around 3,000 baht. So for me, it was more cheaper to get this one. So
Yeah.
I went with this one.
Okay. Very affordable. How do you get around Chiang Mai? How do you get around Bangkok? Do you have a scooter? Do you walk? Do you jump on the bus?
So Thailand has a really high culture of motorbikes. You can see varieties of motorbikes. You can rent a motorbike for 100 baht per day. It varies around 100 baht to 500 or 1,000. It depends of what kind of CC that you want to get.
Mhm.
I have my own motorbike, which is really comes in handy if you want to travel around. And since pandemic is also going less, they also opened up public transports now. Each provinces have their own different transport. Like in Bangkok, you have the metro. And you can also have Somtam is like a small red big tuk-tuk, which goes from one station to another station, which is like 20 baht. So since you will be going to a main spot like tourist spot, you can get a Somtam, which is like that again, it's like a tuk-tuk. It's like 20 baht from one station to another station. Or you can hire and rent a motorbike. You can get Grab, which is like the Uber version of Thailand. It's also relatively cheap. Most like village or island, they don't have Uber or Grab, so you have to rent again a motorbike.
Nice. So how much was your motorbike? Did you?
I luckily I got so it was really cheap. I got my motorbike for 8,000 baht because when I moved in, so one of the things about buying second-hand motorbikes or a car is like, for example, if I'm moving out of Thailand and I will be selling everything. So
Yes.
when people, so you have to look for people who are leaving the country. You can find things for way more cheaper.
Yeah.
And if you
Yeah.
can charm them, you can also bring down the price. That's what I did.
What's the CC that you have? How many CCs?
I have a 120cc because I just travel
Okay.
within the city, and it's really handy. It's been more than a year, and I'm so grateful that I have a motorbike.
Now, do you have to get a license and pay for registration and license for the motorbike?
So the bike that I had, the owner helped me to change the name, and they helped me with the insurance on all the paperwork. And if you have a international driving license, so I got one when I left India, so I use that one. And it's also really easy to get a local Thailand license.
Okay.
Mm.
All right. So thank you for that. So let's go into entertainment, Logan. I mean, what do you guys do for fun there? I mean, it's paradise. You're living in paradise, but so tell us, what do people do for fun?
So Chiang Mai, it's a mountain city. It's something that's always happening. When there is weekend comes up, you have the night market. They also call it the walking street. 5 or 6 kilometers, let's say like 1 to 5 kilometers of huge road which is blocked, and you have stalls. It's really colorful. And if anyone comes to Chiang Mai or any other city, I would really suggest them to go to the night market, because you can find food, you can find artifacts, you can find nice clothes, giftings, so many things. So the night markets, it's like entertainment throughout. And you also have now lots of bars, clubs, and you also have a lot of like when I say bars, there's events happening every single day. There's open mics, there's music, there's DJ. You can see young people always in the bars having music, having a couple of beers. Alcohol is also really cheap here in Chiang Mai. And since it is surrounded by mountains, you can also go for trekking, and there's loads of waterfalls. If you just type waterfalls in Chiang Mai, you can have a list of waterfalls. So you can spend a lot of time with the nature. And there's also always a lot of music happening around. So there's varieties of entertainment for what people are looking into.
Nice, nice. So is karaoke big there?
Karaoke bars were big before COVID. Now they're also trying to revive the night life. So yes, if you go to Phuket, it's a big thing. In Chiang Mai, it's also opening now, and you also have drag shows where you have a beautiful people dancing. So
Nice.
that's also a big thing. I really like to go to drag shows because the the art of that dance is just amazing. It's stunning.
Hmm.
It's also the way that you help the localites if you go to local events.
Yeah. So what kind of a dance was it again?
It's a cabaret dance.
Cabaret. Okay.
uh, yeah, yeah. And because most of them they've been doing these kind of dances, it's also really it's also a way to understand the culture,
Hmm.
because they also integrate their dances, their culture into these shows. So it's really entertaining. uh, if you love music, if you love dance, I would suggest if you come to
Hmm.
Thailand, find yourself a drag show, and then you can understand how beautiful is the dances are.
Yeah. Wow. Very cool, man. And do you ever do any dancing or any singing at the?
Yes. So I for me entertainment is more spiritual. um, when I say dance, they also have a lot of ecstatic dances. uh, have you heard about ecstatic dances?
No.
So it's just an event where they have music, and the music will guide you how do you want to dance. It's a
Ah.
facilitated dance movement, like meditation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do like to go for ecstatic dances.
What is it
And I
called
also,
again? What is it called?
it's called ecstatic dance.
Ecstatic?
Yeah, ecstatic dance.
Ecstatic. How do you spell that?
I can type and send
Yeah.
it to you.
Yeah. Tight. Yeah. Let me. I think like a ecstasy. It sounds like almost like
You
ecstatic.
can say the music itself is an ecstasy.
Yeah. Let me see here. She put it
Yes,
in.
I'm just sending it to you.
Oh
So
yeah. Ecstatic.
yeah,
Ecstatic
it's
dance.
like a
Interesting.
meditation where they have music, and the music is also designed in a way where it slowly starts us, and then you connect with the music. There is no speaking. and then your body starts to move by itself. It's a
Yeah.
dance, it's a meditation through dance and movement.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we have these events, it's like a workshop. We have this workshop every week. So a lot of people who like to go and just dive into music and dance, they also participate in these kind of dances.
Yeah. It's interesting, because I did some of that work when I was in graduate school, studying as an actor. And we'd put on music, and we'd put on sounds and beats, and we'd do this exercise one at a time where you'd start to just kind of move to the rhythms and the beats and allow your body in this movement to kind of influence every aspect of the movement. And it's a powerful exercise. It's really a powerful exercise.
Yeah, definitely, because your body will tell you which part that you want to move in, and then you lose control of your body, and then your body starts to move by itself.
Yeah.
And it's liberating, because you're not thinking about whether people are seeing you, and your mind goes down and your body takes over.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You get out of your mind, and you leave that level of self-consciousness that we're always thinking about, and it just kind of deteriorates, and it's just the moment of being in the present moment, and
it's liberating.
just connected. It's very cool, man. That's very cool. All right.
Yeah, and this is one kind of dance. You also have tango dance, you also have swing dance.
Okay.
And you have salsa. You have different workshops every week.
Yeah. Awesome. So tell us a little bit about, now you've been around this Thailand, and you've experienced temple living. So what is that like? And if somebody were to go and say, I want to go to Thailand, I'm exhausted, I need to figure out where I'm going again, or what direction I want to move in, and I want to just be in a space where I can explore those questions. How do you do that? How do people find these places? How do you do it? And is there a cost involved? And tell us a little bit about that experience for you.
So I can share about my experience. When I came last year, before that I started meditate back in 2019. So I meditate every single day. Meditation for me is like going to the gym just for your mind. That's how I got into meditation. And so Thailand have ridiculous amount of public holidays. And when you work in international school, you get loads of holidays. You also get load of workload. So when I was working in international school, I had a series of holidays, and I wanted to invest these holidays on my let's say like personal development. And for me, meditation is a huge personal development. And I was looking out for a meditation centers. Uh, since Thailand has a huge culture of temples and Buddhisms and monks, uh, either you can go to a temple and meditate, or you can find yourself a meditation center, which is exclusively for meditation. And that's how I found out a meditation center, which is like an hour drive from Chiang Mai. And I went to meditation center, I practiced my meditation, and that's how I got introduced to Buddhism. uh, Thailand derives from Buddhism. So I would say, if someone wants to understand meditation, if they want to spend time with themselves, they can look up for meditation centers in different places. Like you can go to a mountain, because most of the meditation centers, they are with natures. Because you spend so much time with the nature, you understand yourself more. Uh, Most of the meditation centers are a voluntary contribution, like you donate through your time, and they have a minimum amount of donation. And the one that I went, and they were having a 300 baht of minimum donation. But what I signed up for, I wanted to give my time in exchange for accommodation and food. So I volunteered with a meditation center, and that's how I was connected to a temple. So I lived in a temple, I gave my time, I volunteered with them, just living in a temple. Like I would help them with the kitchen, I would help them with cleaning, I would help them sweeping, for exchange of boarding and lodging. And I was also learning meditations. So if you go to temples, they would not ask money, because they also work through donation. they would like to give, and they would receive whatever they've been given to.
Yeah.
So you can find temples, do research, and we can live in the temples. When we live in the temple, they also have some rules. I would want to say a way of that we can respect the temple. The temple that I was staying, I was wearing white dress, and they have a time structure. Like you will be waking up at like 5 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
and you will be going an arms round where the monks, they will go around the village and they'll receive food from the village people. So you can help with them, and yeah, things like that. You will be living in the temple, and you will be voluntary with the work which comes along. You cannot say that this is the work which is going to come, because we never know what's going to happen. But there's structured work, like you can sweep, you can help with the cleaning, you can look after the place, you can organize, you can help with the administration, and of course you can meditate. And this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
how I got into living in temple culture.
Yeah. So what was your experience like living there? I mean,
Oh, I was so grateful and lucky that I was had a chance to live in a meditation center, which is also like a monastery, which was in a mountain, which was very far from Chiang Mai. So there was no city or no pollutions at all. I was living in a mountain village, and it was so peaceful. It was so calm, and the village people were so beautiful and nice. They were so generous, because the temple lived in the generosity of the village. Everything the temple had was given by the village people. So for me, I spent a lot of time with myself. I understood myself, my behaviors, my patterns. Why do I get anxious? Why do I get annoyed? What is happening inside me? And I also got a lot of time to interact with the monks. uh, and luckily, the temple that I was living in, the monastery, we had Western monks, people from Australia, people from America. When they came here, they explored Buddhism, and they also explored meditation, and they started to become a monk. So I had the luxury to speak English with one of the Western monks, and they taught me about meditation. They taught me about Buddha, Lord Buddha. They also taught me about the precepts that the Buddhist people follow, and how it is relating to someone's life, and someone's patterns, behaviors, and how does the mind work. So for me, that was path of liberation. um, I started to learn about more about myself, and then through that I was able to see the world for what it is. And my heart started to open more, and my mind was not thinking too much, because you
Right.
start to feel more when you understand what's happening inside and what's happening around you.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Wow, that's awesome, man. What a great
Thanks.
experience.
I
How long were you there at that temple?
The first time I went, I stayed there for 3 weeks, and then I was just fallen in love with that place. And whenever I had a weekend, I would always go back. And last January, that was the time I was transitioning from one job to another. I lived in a monastery for a month, and it was life changing for me
Hmm.
to live like so monks, basically they live a beggar life, because they have given up all the responsibilities. There's no
All right. So we got cut off at you were sharing your about the living in the temple. And so okay, so let me ask, so your experience of, hold on one second here. So your experience living in the temples, Logan, living in that temple, what is it okay to provide the name to that temple, or?
So yeah, so I lived in a meditation center come monastery. It's called Pape Meditation Center.
Okay.
I can share you also the link.
Yeah.
It's in a village called Pepe,
Pepe.
and
Okay.
that's the meditation center name. And it's also a branch of a huge Buddhist temples around here in Thailand. And yeah, that's the place. And through them, I also lived in different temples.
Okay. Yeah. If you send me that info, and I'll post that on the podcast as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that sounds such like an amazing place, and it's one of those things that I just feel like here in the West, where things are so stressful and people are so rushed, and there's just a tremendous amount of the number one medications that are prescribed throughout America are antidepressant and anti-anxiety medications.
Yeah.
And it seems like everybody knows people that are on these medications because it's so driven here. People are so driven to succeed, and there's just a lot of stress in this society.
Yeah. And similar to that, I got into meditation back in 2017 because I was diagnosed with OCD, and which also led me to have high anxiety and panic attacks. So I was exploring medication, and I was subscribed to heavy dosage of medication. And I also spoke to people before starting the medication. And one of my mentors suggested me, why don't you try alternative therapies, like speak therapy, try to speak, try to do art therapy, try to do drama. And that's how I got introduced to meditation. Meditation doesn't do anything other than stopping time for you. It gives you space, and it also detaches you from your mind, where you stop thinking about something and start observing what's happening.
Yes.
And the more that I started to observe my mind, the more I was able to understand what's happening. Rather than thinking and going behind thoughts, I was started to see them objectively. Okay, this is a thought, this has nothing to do with me. I'm not suffering about what's happening outside, I'm suffering about what I'm thinking about what's happening outside. So the suffering was inside me, it was not outside. And that's what led me to start going and exploring different places and speaking to people. And living in the monastery has done nothing than opening up my heart. Now my heart is more open, and I can able to start seeing people, I can able to see myself, and I stopped judging myself. My anxiety went down, my panic attack went down, and I can able to live with my OCD rather than running away, because I accepted this is what it is. And there's more harmony between me and my OCD right now.
Yeah. Wow, man, you're an inspiration, my friend.
Thank you. So yeah, so are you, bringing so much people and able to connect us all together.
Are you doing talks? I mean, do you share your story, and do you go and talk about, do you do talks anywhere?
So ever since I moved to Thailand, I also changed my vision of working. Now I work in an NGO, but I also try to facilitate through life. I try to connect people with another people. I try to connect people to monasteries. I try to connect people with activities that they're able to connect and able to get something out. So I don't do speaks, I don't do talks. So many people are asking me to start a YouTube channel and share my travels and share my knowledge, which also I'm thinking about doing. I just share my reflections and my journeys in Facebook, and that you might have seen. Through that, I connect and touch with people. So for me, being in the development sector, one of the huge thing that I learned is like, development is not building something. Development can also be touching people's life. So I try to touch people's life as much as I can, and that's how I share my knowledge, my wisdom, and that's how I also learn from people.
Yeah, well, I think
that makes sense.
Yeah, Logan, I think you've chosen to live such a special and unique way, and you've had so many awakenings and awareness, you know, that there is a wisdom there that people need to hear. I mean, if you did a YouTube channel, I'd listen to what you have to say, because it's inspiring. It really is, you know, it's inspiring. And I think that there's just such a low percentage of people that really dive in and try to better understand who they are, and use the channels of meditation and art as a means to kind of understand that a little bit better. You know, but it's just impressive to me to just go off and take that time to live in a monastery and grow and work with these mentors and monks and people that can provide some kind of guidance to help you understand that, wow, I really do get caught up in thought.
Chai. And also chai is like yes in Thailand, and since it's like being a local, that you also camouflage with little words, so people also able to understand. That's why I'm keep saying chai. So it's like when this world that we live in, it's not that there's so much evil, it's just so much ignorance. People are so busy, people are just busy with one activity to another activity to another activity. It's like when you don't do something, you feel really bad, because you feel like you're not being productive. But
Yeah.
one of the thing which is more overlooked is like it's just being existing, being still,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
being with our thoughts, able to understand what's actually happening. And once you can able to understand that and able to be still, your productivity just goes high,
Yeah.
because you see the world for what it is and not what you assume. Your assumption goes less and your observation goes high.
Yeah. 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 It's interesting because I catch myself too. And sometimes you're right. Like you can look at people and you can make a judgment, right? And you could say, wow, they're really bad people. Or
Hmm.
they're really, or people can use the word evil, or
Chai.
they're just, but then I catch myself going, in Buddhism, they say there's a right understanding,
Yeah.
the correct understanding. And I always say, I'm not seeing it correctly. I go,
Yeah.
people make mistakes and people do things because
Hmm.
they're in a space at that time that's not really healthy and good for them.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then you can be compassionate towards people who are
Hmm.
doing things that are actually harmful to others, because they're, and it's really shifting your understanding, catching yourself and going, I'm not seeing that correctly. And there is a
Yeah.
different way to see it, in a more compassionate way to see it.
Yeah. And also when we, it's so subconscious, right? Because we've been told to judge, we've been told to be number one in class. Like for example, if I'm being number one in class, the other people, they're going to fail. So I've been taught to make people fail. So
Yeah.
that's how we see the world through.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's okay to judge. The thing is, when we judge, it's important to detach from the thought and able to see where it is coming from, and
Yeah.
able to give that compassion to ourselves and give that love to ourselves, and through that we give compassion to others.
Yeah.
Then only we can able to see, oh, this is what's happening, it's just in my head, that person is not evil, they're just doing their own thing, they're just doing their best, everyone is just doing their best.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. Well, that's all I have for the questions, Logan. Is there anything else that we didn't cover that you feel maybe the viewers might need to know, or anything that could be beneficial about living in
Yeah.
Thailand?
Chai, one thing about Thailand is, like I said, it's more multinational. Sorry, uh, you can see different kind of national people living here, and they live in harmony. If you stay here for a week, then you feel like you are a local. You know what's happening. You know the people. You know the places. So after a month of staying in Thailand, you don't even feel like you are living in a different country. So that's one of the uniqueness about Thailand, because they welcome diversity. They welcome foreigners. It's also one of the major income from them. So if you are coming to Thailand, just know that it has its flaws, but also the highs are really high. Uh, you will able to enjoy Thailand as you are enjoying your own country. Some people just fall in love in Thailand; they don't even want to go back.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It sounds everything that you described about, I've never been to Thailand, and eventually I'm going to get out there to check it out. But everything you described, it just sounds just like a place I just love. Hey, what's that? Is that a painting behind you, that bright painting?
Oh, that's Lord Ganesh. uh, he is the elephant god.
Okay.
He is from Hindu mythology. So
Gotcha.
in Hinduism, yeah, Lord Ganesh. So Lord Ganesh is my longtime friend. So he stands for removing obstacles, giving you strength. He's a god of celebration.
Oh,
So for
wow.
me, Lord Ganesh is like my pal. If there is a problem, I always think about, okay, I want Lord Ganesh to give me a wisdom. So for me, believing in, so he's not a person, but just this idea
Sure.
of an idea of removing obstacles. So for me, Lord Ganesh has to be wherever I am,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
because it's just so colorful.
it
He's just
is.
colorful.
It's beautiful. I love the colors.
One of my friend made that for me, so
Really?
it's very special for me.
Wow. Did your friend paint that?
Yeah, my friend made
Wow.
that
Yeah, it's a
specifically.
great piece of art. Love it.
Thank you. I will
Yeah.
share with my friend.
All right. Well, that's all I have, Logan. Thanks so much, man, for being a part of the podcast. You truly are an inspiration. And I just love all the things that you're doing and helping people, and working for your NGO, and just diving into self-exploration just to be the best that you're capable of being. And there's nothing more important than that. I try to do the same thing myself. So this has been a pleasure, sir, to finally catch up with you, man, and have this conversation. Thanks for
Oh,
doing
it's
it.
been a privilege to be in your podcast. I have been following your work, and like one of the things that I really value is spread positivity. It's also one of the things just overlooked in the world, and you have been spreading so much positivity and bringing so much insights from people who are living there to the world and able to connect people with different nationalities, different parts of the world, and you are doing an excellent job. And one of my mentors used to say that I am nothing but a reflection of you. So if you feel like you are inspired, that's because you are inspiring.
Thanks, buddy. That's what I'm
Thank.
talking about. You got to start that YouTube channel.
It's in the thinking process. Hopefully.
All right, man. Well, you have a great rest of the evening.
Evening.
You're gonna go to bed soon, right?
My kittens are already in the bed, so I'm just gonna snuggle them.
Yeah.
You have a wonderful day.
Yeah. And
Thank you so much
let's
for
definitely
having me.
stay in touch, man. And thanks again, bud.
Thank you so much.